Well, and you guys can see my, oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on my camera. All right.
Yeah,
Can you see me?
I will first introduce you a little bit. So today our seminar series is for career paths for our graduate students, but the video recording will also be provided for our undergraduate students. So don't limit yourself to and only the graduate students. So Dr. Xiao Cai is an experienced business-oriented data scientist who is passionate to solve challenges in various industries such as higher education, browser, online advertisement, and transportation with a set of sophisticated skills, including the natural language processing, statistical modeling, data mining, machine learning to analyze complicated big data problems, recommend solid marketing strategies based on data insights. And she currently leads a data science team at Alumni. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Astrum U. Yeah, I know. It's Astrum plus U. Yes.
To work directly with engineering, product, and sales partners to build a data-driven, talented acquisition or management platform to help lifelong learners and companies to get best matching. Before joining Astromu, she worked in Edge Group and Bing Advertisement Group as a senior data scientist in Microsoft for more than 6 years, as well as 3 years in revenue management department as senior revenue advisor in FedEx. Before stepping into industry side, Xiao got her doctoral degree of industrial engineer from University of Louisville, back in 2010 by focusing on semi-open queuing network theory to solve automatic material handling system design challenges. So let's welcome for Dr. Xiao Cai's talk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. It's a really exciting opportunity. Thank you, Xiao, to invite and Dr. Bai to invite me to give this presentation. And I am really excited to share my journey with you all because I can relate a lot to the students here in the industrial engineering department at University of Louisville. So a little bit more about my life back in Louisville. So I came to US at 2006. Wow, it's been 15 years. So I landed in Louisville and spent the next 4 years here at the industrial engineering department in B school for until I get my doctorate degree back in 2010. So after that, I decided, actually, I will say probably a couple years into my PhD study, I decided to pursue the opportunities in industry side instead of the academic side. I know that a lot of PhD students are very passionate about research, but at the same time, I personally, talked, interviewed, and worked with a lot of researchers who decide to switch the career from the academia side to the industry side. So so today I would like to share my story and answer some questions that Xiao prepared, for me to answer. And the more important thing is currently I am the data science lead at the small startup company called Astromu. So this is a startup company located in Kirkland, Washington. Kirkland, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Kirkland from the Costco brand. So actually, the funny thing is that Kirkland is a small city outside of Seattle, and that's where actually Costco is also from Seattle. So everybody thought that they started from Kirkland, which they're not. They're from Seattle, but they happen to pick Kirkland as their brand name. So that's where our company locates. So the mission of our company is to help use the big data and the machine learning to help to leverage or to cover the gap between the supply side, which are the talents like you guys, versus the demand from the industry side. So, in the past 10 years, I got a lot of people ask me, how did you switch from the academia side to the industry side, and how do you get used to it? What is the so it seems like, you know, a lot of people said that seems there's a huge disconnection of what we learn in school, or the research we did in school versus we actually use in the industry side. Is that the case? I don't think so, right? Because we consider this as a lifelong journey. What you did in the past really helped you shape who you are, and it's impossible for you to say, oh, I just cut off my experience gain in research and then just start fresh in a company. This doesn't work, and no hiring manager or HR looking for the candidates like that. But unfortunately, I know when the learners graduate from the school, or in other settings later, I can cover a few use cases, is that, for example, when the soldiers leave the military, or, you know, the students who actually switch from one major to another. So their question is like, what should I put in my resume, right? Everybody, I mean, the funny thing is that uh, we talked to the career advisors back in different schools to understand how they work with students nowadays. And surprisingly, and not so surprisingly, that the procedure or the content they could provide to students is more or less the same as what they gave to me when I left the school. So pretty much means nothing. I can tell you based on my own experience. So that's what our the Astromu try to solve, is that you don't need to worry about what you put in the resume. Your verifiable records happened in school, in your different schools, in the different majors, already shape who you are. And all we need to do is just connect this with what the company really needs, right? So that's the later I'm gonna present a marketing this is like a marketing presentation that our marketing team prepared. But I think that explains very well about what we do. But first, let me start with to answer some questions that Xiao prepared. So I look at the questions. It seems like a lot of them is about how I actually. First, I like to answer the fifth question. How did you decide between academic career versus industry career? So actually, I think this is also a common theme, a common thing for a lot of students like you to answer, right? You need to ask yourself, what should I do after I graduate? Right? We spend for most maybe 5-6 years in the school, for our PhD study. So how do we decide that? That question also connect to like, what does the industry need? What can I do after I graduate? So the interesting thing is like, if you ask this question, the same question back in 2010, I will say, I don't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to, even read the job description of like, how do I fit? I read it. I remember when I read those job descriptions, and I figured like, I was asking myself, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything that the company needs. So I think that's a good. So I will say, of course, in the future, we definitely can leverage the help from Astromu. But I will say, other than that, it's very important for you to. I don't know how many of the audience here today are in the master program, but if you're in the master program, I will highly suggest you to talk to your friends who are also, or who already graduate, your seniors who graduate already. So definitely to keep in touch with them. You can use the different ways to connect with them. Usually people use LinkedIn, but we all know that people are not very active on, you know, chatting on the LinkedIn or something. So I will suggest you to really keep in a close touch with them. And also you can leverage alumni networking that every school, so every school has alumni association. So what they do is they actively reach out to the alumni in the different, regions, in the different areas. I remember I got reached out by the alumni association of the University of Louisville here in Seattle several times, and they also host the different activities. Sometimes they host a dinner party. It's a great opportunity for you to also attend. I mean, it's not only just for alumni, it's also sometimes they also open this for the current students. So I definitely suggest you to leverage those opportunities, talk to them to understand, just ask question about what do you do, right? What do you do in the company? Like what's the position? What projects you work on? So things like that. So this can help you to decide if working in the industry is the life you want to pursue, because it's very different. The career path, the career development is very different from being a research or like a professor later. So that's a question. And the career development is also very different. I know it's a little bit early for you guys, but you can also think about the possible, development. A lot of some people join the industry, they actually can continue their research career. It just they don't have tenure or anything like that, but they also the especially the large corporates also sponsor a lot of research projects. Or you can consider about the career to eventually become the managers, pursue the management career, just like person like what I did. So those are the things you can start to think about. I will suggest start as early as possible. Don't wait till you finish your dissertation. It's a little bit too late. So that's what I will suggest. And I will say, if I think back about my career path, I will say I got some very useful suggestions from professors in the same department, not only just the you. So I will suggest you talk to your professors, not only your advisor, but professors in the same department or even outside of the department. For example, if you decide you want to pursue the opportunities in the industry, I suggest you can reach out, attend some meetings or seminars in the other department, for example, like a business department, because the professors, the good thing about that is some professors, they also have the opportunities to work with the companies. I personally actually now working with a few researchers in the universities. So, and this is also a great opportunity for you to get an internship, because based on my personal experience and based on the study we did, internship is a very, very important factor for the, hiring manager to consider you. Because, as a new graduate student, what you did in school is, first of all, it's harder for you. If you never had any industry experience, it's really harder for you to translate or describe your experience in school in the way that the hiring managers or the recruiters could understand. Large corporates usually have the recruitment team dedicated to the new graduate students, but most of the, I will say, the mid-size or small companies, they don't have any dedicated HR can understand the difference of among the new graduate students. So they still have very limited understanding about you. I mean, that's again another motivation for us to start AstroMu. So I will say, yeah, internship is very important. Start to make up your mind is also very important, because everyone has a limited energy and time. You really need to, I will say, think for yourself. Think for yourself and then make an early decision. Then once you make the decision, pursue that direction and work towards it. So let me see. And I think regarding to the internship, I will say don't worry about too much about the actual content of the internship, because when you apply for the internship, it's that's the key thing we actually want to solve here at Astromu is like when you read the job descriptions or even when you talk to the recruiters, sometimes what you can understand from the job description or from the recruiter is probably very different from the actual work you will do in your internship, which is okay. It doesn't matter. What matter is that the internship gives you the opportunity to work with the full-time employees. So then you can understand how they conduct the business. Because no matter what business, there are similar functions are still there, right? So you have, assume you work for the IT companies, you will get like engineering department. You need to work with a product team, work with a marketing team, sales team. Those are the functions always there. So it's important. It's the intern. You might not have opportunity to work with every single function, but you will have opportunity to observe how they conduct the business, how they start with the business idea, how they start the proposal, how they approach the clients, and how do they deliver the clients the projects. It's very, very different from the research project you do here in this department. So it's very important. Again, I cannot address more about how important the internship experience is. And the second thing I noticed by reading the names of the audience, I noticed a lot of you guys are similar as my situation. You're international students. So as international students, language is definitely a big barrier. So I do suggest, I mean, language is one thing. Another thing is, I will say actually the fundamental matter is the way you communicate with people. So I encourage you to get off. I don't know about the situation there in Speak School today, but I know 10 years ago, the international student was a very small pool here in Speak School. But even I remember, even when the population of international students was so small, a lot of us chose not to step out of our comfort zone and communicate or hang out with the local students. I remember, if my memory is still correct, Space School is on the one side of the campus, and then the student center, everything is on the other side of the campus. I don't remember I really spent much time on the other side of the campus, which today I really, really regret. I encourage you to attend more, activities hosted on campus, and if possible, attend more extracurriculum activities on the campus. This will definitely help you to improve your communication. So I think I pretty much answered the questions that Xiao prepared for me. And I want to use the next 10 minutes to share a quick presentation about what we do at Astromu. And if you're interested in, after this meeting, if you're interested in what we do, please feel free to reach out to me and I can give you more details. So today it's just a very brief introduction. All right. I'll go ahead to share the screen. Make sure. Can you guys see the presentation?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So first I want to talk about about the little bit about the history of Astromu. So the Astromu started is a very, I will say a very, very brief idea about, like, our founder knows the mission. The mission is to help to build a gap between what our starting from the university, what universities prepared for our learners versus what we really need in the industry. Our founder is a very successful entrepreneur who actually at that time, back in 2017, he just sold his second company. So very, very successful. The interesting thing is that he is from an English major, which is considered by most Americans is like if you don't go to law school after that, it's pretty much useless. And he chose not to go to the law school, but enter into the business. And now he is a very successful businessman. So he was thinking, how do I share my successful experience with the learners who are in a similar situation? He was not, at that time, he was not even thinking about the students like us, in the STEM majors, more like undergrad students who are from the liberal arts and the similar majors. So how do we help the students like this to see the opportunities outside and to connect to themselves? So that's the initial mission of the Astromu. So we can look at a few background, right? So the industry actually outside of the university, the higher education, actually pays a lot of attention. Companies are paying, I will say, millions of dollars in the recruiting, talent management, talent acquisition process. However, the process, I will say, till today is broken, especially for the for hiring the learners from, like, say, universities, military, and from our minority communities. So there is a huge business opportunities there, but no one did that before because it's really hard. It's about the talents. So how do you understand the talents other just than the resumes, right? So a lot of, like a McKinsey and a lot of large companies, they're also exploring this. However, there are, even after spending millions of dollars to try to understand how to identify the right candidates to hire, and then unfortunately, even through the recruiting process, interview process, the hiring managers still face the sad truth. The candidates they hired, just not the candidates they want. So we see a huge gap about the the learners whose skills just cannot be matched with the skills that the companies or the business needs. We all think that, oh, you list your skills on your resume, we just match with the skills we need here, which doesn't work. So that's why the employees and the higher education, the universities, they're seeking actively for the solution, which is different from the traditional hiring process, like what people do to still do the same thing today. Submit your resume to the job, to LinkedIn, to Indeed, and try to match you with, and you figure out, oh, okay, I want to apply this job here. I just put a resume there. So the industry, the whole industry there has this need, they have this urge to solve this problem, to build this gap between the skills, the skills their current employees and future employees have versus what they really need. So this is where the Astromu. So we actually provide this web-based so our product, everything is online, but everything behind that is we call the AI translation engine. This engine is a recommendation engine. We automate the whole process. Like I said, the traditional way is you provide a resume, and a lot of company out there, they do the same business and try to match you either through the keyword matching, or some of them claim they use AI to do like sentiment analysis, semantic analysis, try to match you to the JD. No, that is not what we do. What we do is we want to ditch the traditional way of resume, because we know that most of the learners, especially the learners with no working experience, cannot write an efficient resume for the JD. But and also we don't want you to bluff or to try to exaggerate what you do, or try to make up some things to make yourself feel like, oh, I am the right candidate for this opportunity. We actually want to use the verifiable records which schools are sitting on today. They're sitting on that, they don't do anything. We want to use that to build a profile about the learner, and then build to truly understand the skill gap between this individual and the career pathway existed in different companies. So that's overall, this is our mission. And currently we're working, this is just one use case. We're working with US Army to help the veterans, or actually it's not veteran. So the US Army has a process, 18-month process, to help the soldiers to transfer from the military side to the civilian side. So in this 18-month period, they call the TAP period. So the TAP period, that the US Army will provide all kinds of resources. They work with different companies, such as Astromu, to help the military personnel to find opportunities in the civilian side. Most of the company have their, especially large corporates, have their veteran program. So they do want to hire our heroes and place them in the sustainable career path after they left the Army. Unfortunately, this process is broken nowadays. The soldiers are facing the similar problem as our students from the academic side. It's harder for them to translate what they do in the Army, use weapons, drive the military vehicles. How do I translate this into the skills which I can apply on the civilian side? That's a challenge for them. So that's what our skill set product and the Ready Set product will help them. And we also introduced the partners from the civilian side, like T-Mobile, Evergy, which is the largest electronic power companies in the Kansas area. So we all help work together, try to make a smooth transition for the military personnel to the industry side. So the skill set is the whole process, I will say, is relatively straightforward, right? We collect our learner data. Similar is the data that school is sitting on today. Military just sit on their veterans data and do nothing. So we collect the data and use that to build the profile for the learner to match with the job roles we have here on the market. And this will create a unique opportunity that the soldiers no longer need to worry about, oh, how do I write my resume, things like that, and go find a job. And this can also help to understand, I think, similar as a student in the school, you'll be surprised that most of the soldiers or even officers who spend like decades in the Army, they have no idea about the impact of the transiting out of military to the civilian side, because their life is taken care in the Army, right? So but once they get to the outside world, they need to pay for everything. So there is a people are scared of things they don't know. So that's our mission, is we make it clear, we make it straightforward based on what you have today, and based on what you need to, if you get high, like the target, what's the gap there, and how do you build up the gap? So that's our skill set, and that's what our skill set and Ready Set can do to help. So in this, in our platform, we provide a way for the learners to actually to explore the desired outcome. The purpose of our recommendation engine is really not to restrict you to say, oh, you graduate from industry engineer, you can only be a process engineer working in the manufacturer. No, there's nothing like that. You actually could explore anything you want, and all we are doing is try to measure who you are now today versus where you want to be. And we recommend you the gap and recommend you how do you build up the gap, because the gap is not only about you need to learn the say, oh, we today use Python, you need to learn Python, just ditch whatever the other tools you learned. No, it's nothing like that. It's help you to understand what you have and how much you need to make up to say you already have the well-trained statistic knowledge, and how do you actually make a quick jump from using R to using Python. And also the more important thing is about the softer skills, or we call the um, the softer skill is not something like you will say I can learn from some course or some anything like that. That's why in the question session, when I answered the questions, I mentioned that internship is very important, because it, and also participate in the different activities on the campus is very important, because it really helps you to improve your communication. So before, say, if I am the hiring manager and I got the resumes from two candidates, I really cannot tell the difference. So I had to, if I'm looking for someone who can actually work with different business functions, how do I know which candidate's better at doing that? I need to talk to them. But if you two are just a graduate from school, how can I tell which one has a better potential to be a good at working, collaborating across different functions? So that's what our skill gap analysis will help. It's based on to help you to think about the different things you did during your journey in the military or in the school, and then use those to actually, because we have the engine, we have the model built in, trained model built in this engine to help to understand what's the impact of the different activities to the possibility of being successful in the career you choose. So everything is dynamic, and everything is controlled by the learner. So here is just a few screenshots about what the product we have today. So we have two main products. One is the skill set, and another one is the ready set. So the skill set is more like a targeting the learners. So the learners, when you create your profile, we will help, and you can use that to explore the different opportunities together. So we today work with, like I mentioned, with the U.S. Army on this one. Another product we have is called the Ready Set. So the Ready Set is probably not very useful for today's audience, but this is the Ready Set we actually work with the universities for the enrollment management. So trust me, universities have the similar struggle as you have. They also have a pressure to prove, or to showcase why it's worth the investment in education, because we know education is like any business, it's investment, it's all about the return, right? I go to school I get spend tens of thousands of dollars to study several years in school. Why? Especially about the very expensive programs like MBA, EMBA. Why do I need to do that? Why should I choose this school instead of that program? So this is a ready set so we use to help the potential students or the student learners who are exploring the education opportunities to understand, or to do a quick evaluation of the impact of certain education program. Could be anything. Could be certificate, or today's those micro certificates, micro graduate certificate, or any programs. So our goal is that we don't, because we understand in the industry side, most of the hiring managers, they don't look at, oh, which school did you graduate from? Oh, you graduate from University of Louisville. Oh no, but that candidate graduated from, say, University of Harvard. Oh, that student is better than student from University of Louisville. Nothing like that. Most of the hiring managers, they want to hire the talents who can help to finish the job, So that's why the programs, it's no longer about, oh, what is the rank, what is the reputation of the school. It's really about if the actual content in this program can help the learners to reach their career goal. So that's the background of our Ready Set, the Ready Set product. So yeah, so I think that's actually, I will use this as the end of the presentation. So we work with the Pepperdine University in California on their for their MBA programs. And this is their dean, associate dean from the business school. And that's really a high words about what we do. So really appreciate that. But the goal here is, anyway, the mission of the Astromu here is to really help to change fundamentally how the learners view themselves in their career journey, not only just education, but the whole career journey, and to evaluate the different opportunities in their career and in education, and help every learner to find the best sustainable pathway in their whole life journey. All right. Okay. That's it. Enough for me to, I talk a lot already, nonstop for almost 40 minutes. So I will just leverage the rest 20 minutes to answer any questions you have.
Sure. Thanks again for Xiao's nice talk, and thanks for answering all the questions I collected from our graduate students. That's really nice. Well, I'd like to firstly check with our audience. Do you have any questions? Like from our students, faculty members?
I don't really have any question. I wanted just to thank for this very nice presentation, and also presenting the product, which is also in line with the seminar topic that we have. So I think this is very insightful. So Xiao, thanks a lot for taking the time to help our student in their journey, and thanks for the beautiful presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have a really talented marketing team and the designers here to make this great presentation.
Sure.
So yeah, and I really, I would like to, I'm very proud of my, my achievements I reached in the University of Louisville. And I think I really had a wonderful 4-year study in the industry engineering department. A lot of good memories here, and I am here to help and to support the students graduate from our department. It's not only just because I work in Astromu, I really want to help our students to see there are a lot of good potentials out there. I will tell our students, don't be intimidated by the big names of those big corporates. I know some very stupid recruiters will say, yeah, we only hire from the certain list of the schools. Trust me, in my career, I work with people from different backgrounds. And we also did our study, and we try to model the factors which impact the success in the career. Rank of the students or rank of the universities or anything really has nothing to do with the career outcome. So it really matters is about you, about who you are. It's about you continue to improving your skills, your competency, and be confident. it's really never about the school, and I think the industry engineering department in this school actually really I will say really helped at least helped me to grow a lot. And I do know that a few students, who graduate from this department, they are all very successful in what they do. So just want to let you know that.
Monica, you need to open your mic.
This is very nice to share. I think this is important to share your experience and to share what you know about the other students. Thanks so much for sharing this.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, is there any other questions from the audience? If not, I have a question for you. So, Xiao,
Yeah.
I'm really interested in your background as a data scientist in, Microsoft and your current company. So, we're actually organizing a data analytics track in our department as a wide
Awesome.
track for students to pursue. So do you have any suggestions for us to focus on, for example, more on fundamentals of statistics or machine learning or more applications of that?
Good question. Actually, this is I'm glad you asked this question because that's another project we're working on right now. We internally call this the emerging programs. So in the marketing research, we talk to many schools, and the schools, trust me, they have the pressure to, like I said at the end of the presentation, they have pressure to prove the ROI of their education. So there are a lot of schools pursuing the similar ideas like our department is pursuing. So the interesting thing is that some schools are, I will say, the interesting thing is when we collected those program information from many schools, more or less they provide, I will say, similar content. But the interesting thing is the outcome of their alumni is very different from each other. So that's actually what we're studying. And regarding to this data science track, we do see there are few trends, right? So some of the schools, they actually reuse a lot of materials from their existing coursework, and some of them actually start from, I will say most of them start in this way, but they do have some schools starting from scratch. So I think for our department, we already have very I will say what benefit me the most are the not the fun. I will say one thing I really benefit a lot is that when I was it's my first year here in the department, my advisor at that time, I think he already left the department. What he suggests I spend the whole year to study in the math department. So learn a lot of statistic theory, all this in the math department. I think that really helps me later to quickly understand a lot of theories they use in the machine learning and artificial intelligence. Because if you really look into the fundamental theories they use, they're not that complicated. They're so I think the training we got there is definitely very, very useful. And I think the one thing I think that the department provide, which can be applied to this, is from our study we saw, is that the application, right? So it's not only about the industry, the topics, like when I was here, it's about the material handling, logistics. It's no longer about that. So I think it's important to show our students that the knowledge you gain in this department can be applied to solve the many problems in the industry. So the key thing I look back of what benefit me the most is the training to help you to think for the different problems. Because in the industry, it's different from the research, the academic. One big thing is you need to have a quick turnaround. you don't have, years and years of time to prepare, to explore. You actually need to quickly get a solution and try that and try the prototype and then work on to, to perfect it. So I think that's what I learned in this. I was very lucky to work on the project, which very close to the industry. That's what I learned, and I think that benefits me the most. So I think if we want to start this data analytics track, this is some similar idea can be applied on that.
Well, appreciate your comments, and we will certainly consider that. Thank you. And we have a question from audience. Santosh, could you please open your kind of mic and say that?
Hello, my name is Santosh. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It is informative. I'm a PhD candidate in industrial department in the field of additive manufacturing. So my question is, since you talked about communication and another thing is mismatch between skills between people who are looking for the job and the students. So do you have any suggestions on that part, that how a student can build on that, like how a student should approach on the communication part, as well as looking for the skills or the jobs that will match his or her skills?
Good question. Thank you. The question you have, exactly like I present in the presentation, is exactly what we want to solve. So I will say the communication is definitely very important, especially for our international students. So I will suggest to not be shy. I know that sometimes the research task can be very time consuming. And I remember when I was here, I also spent a lot of time in the lab. Well, I will suggest you to step out of the department. I know that we have, I think, what is called? The UofL-INFORMS. UofL-INFORMS is one of the biggest conference for us to attend. So definitely you should leverage the opportunity to go to the different conference. It's not only about to understand the latest trend in your research area. I will suggest you to also attend the sessions which they maybe not so related to the industry, to the research topics, but more like a social events or the keynotes, presentations, because that's where you can find people who are more willing to communicate. They're more willing to, talk about the generic topics instead of focusing on very, very specific, in the very narrowed research area. So that's where you, the interesting thing is that once you step out your comfort zone, you will find that a lot of people have the similar concerns, and they actually, it takes a lot of courage to do so. So, and also you can also think about some actual curriculums on the campus. For example, I didn't know when I was a student, but after I start to work, I find it's very, very scared. I was so scared to give the presentations in front of the team. It could be just a few people, or it could be just dozens of people in front of the department. I remember the first brown bag presentation I gave in FedEx. I was shaking, and my mind was just blank. I couldn't remember. I tried to memorize what I want to say, but I just couldn't say anything. It's really, really scary. The public speaking skill can be improved through practice. So on the campus, if you have such, like a debate club or like a Toastmaster, I don't know if you know the Toastmaster Club. I'm pretty sure it exists in University of Louisville campus, or if not, you can go out. There are the public sessions, public club there of the Toastmaster Club. There is for you to talk in front of the strangers. This will help to boost your confidence. don't worry about you have accent or people might not understand you. You'll be surprised that people can be very, very patient, and they will try their best to understand you, because in the Toastmaster Club, it's all everybody there is to seek to improve their public speaking skills. And it's not only about that, it's also about you to help others to improve that. So this kind of interaction will help you to become more comfortable, to communicate with others. That is very important. Imagine that at the end, if you decide to switch to the industry side, in the interview process, trust me, other than your hiring manager, no one really care about what you do. All they care about is that, hey, can I work with this person? They like to invite people from other business functions to interview you. It's all about, oh, can I work with this person? Can you imagine that you just be quiet and hard to communicate? Can you imagine how hard for them to make the decision? They will say, yeah, forget about that. So that's why, be brave, be open-minded, don't be shy, try your best to, at first it's really, really uncomfortable, but just to try. Trust me, after a few times, it becomes your habit. It's just a very natural process.
Thank you for all the suggestions. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, if not, we reached the end of today's presentation. Thank you again, Xiao, for the nice presentation, for your questions for your answers for all of our questions. Appreciate
Definitely.
that. And
Definitely.
yeah, after that, could you please share your mailing address for us, because we will send you a gift.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes. And like I said, thank you again for inviting me. And like I said before, I am really happy to help and support students from our department. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Xiaoyu has my email address, and you can share with our audience. So if you have any question, anytime, reach out to me.
Well, appreciate that. Thank you again.
Thank you. All right.
Let's call it a day.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
You. Bye-bye.
Bye.